Give the Lord a dance. Give the Lord a shout. Give the Lord a shout. Mama Yesu say yeah. Give the Lord a dance. Give the Lord a shout. Mama Yesu say yeah. I got my buru hallelujah buru hallelujah. I got my buru hallelujah buru nachineke. I got my buru hallelujah buru hallelujah buru. I got my buru hallelujah buru nachineke. Oh swaka chineke ni di. I give it back. I give it back. Oh swaka chineke ni di. I give it back. Sing I give it back. Oh swaka chineke ni di. I give it back. A mighty God. He is a mighty God. He is a mighty. He is a mighty, mighty. He is a mighty. He is a mighty. He is a mighty God. He is a mighty God. He is a mighty. He is a mighty. Everybody bow before him. Demons bow before him. Demons bow before him. Demons bow before him. Who has the final say? Give the Lord a dance. 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 I sing, who has the final say? Oh, Jehovah turns my life around. He turns my life around. He takes away when it's going. Oh, Jehovah. Oh, Jehovah turns my life around. He turns my life around. He takes away when it's going. Oh, Jehovah. I sing, who has the final say? Final say. Oh, Jehovah turns my life around. He turns my life around. He makes a way when there's no way. Say, hey Yahweh, Kumama. Hey Yahweh, Kumama. Sing hey Yahweh. Mama, hey Yahweh, sing hey Yahweh, Mama, hey Yahweh, oh hey Yahweh, oh hey Yahweh. Sing Yahweh, Yahweh to mama. Yahweh, Yahweh. Sing Yahweh, oh. Yahweh, Yahweh, oh. Yahweh, Yahweh, oh. Yahweh, Yahweh, oh. Sing how lovely are the mountains, the feet of men. Sing that bring, sing good news. Announcing peace, proclaiming news of happiness. Oh, that our God, sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Oh, our God reigns. Our God reigns. Our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Sing our God reigns. Our God reigns. Our God reigns.
Oh, give the Lord a mighty shout of praise. Give the Lord a mighty shout of praise. No, you see, in this house, when we say the king is in the house, you shout. Amen. So, when I say the king is in the house, I want you to shout. Shout like you are a youth. Shout like you are a young man, a young girl. The king is in the house. No, can you do something crazy? Can you do something crazy? Can you do something crazy? Wow. Amen. Charlie, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, this afternoon, something powerful, something great, something honorific, something bang to car is going to rob off you. And you are not going to live here the same. No, are you going to give your neighbor a high five? Give your neighbor a high five and welcome your neighbor. Welcome your neighbor to Abkls. No, I don't know why you are sitting. I don't know why. I don't know why you are sitting. I don't know why you are sitting. I don't know why you are sitting. You are a youth. I don't know why you are sitting. Can you stand? Can you stand? Even as we welcome our host, Reverend. No, you are not getting it well. Even as we welcome our host, our Reverend, our daddy, Reverend Joel Duncan-Williams. No, your shout is too weak. Your shout is too weak. Your shout is too weak. Let's welcome Reverend Joel Duncan-Williams. Are you shouting? Are you clapping your hands? Oh my God. Oh, keep clapping, keep clapping. Keep clapping, keep clapping.
Are you giving the Lord a shout of praise in the house tonight? Can you hear me? Are you excited? Are you clapping your hands? Are you giving the Lord a shout? Are you ready to be empowered? Come on, clap your two hands. Shout! Lift up your hands. Lift up your hands all over this place. Lift up your hands all over this place. Father, right now we ask that you come in our midst. We ask that you bless us. We ask that you empower us. We ask that you illuminate our understanding to advance us, to take us to our next dimension in our next step with you. Father, any limitation, any restriction, we ask that it will be broken right now. That the limitations and the hindrances will be removed, that we will be set free, that we will be set ablaze. And one more time, you ignite the fire within us. And if the whole church believes it, can you go ahead and shout an amen? Look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, Your shout was too weak. Say, shout an amen like you mean it. Come on, shout an amen. Come on, shout an amen. Come on and shout an amen. Well, at this time, I'm going to Pastor James to introduce a speaker, woman of God that God has brought to you at this time to move you to your next destination. Look at your neighbor and tell them, after this program, I'm moving my next destination. So at this time, receive Pastor James.
Give Reverend Joel a better clap offering.
Call you up.
Give Reverend Joel a better clap offering. Wow. Amen. Can you give your neighbor a hug? Can you give your neighbor a hug? Just give your neighbor a hug. And don't use this as an opportunity. I mean, give your neighbor a holy hug. I mean, a holy hug.
Coming. But I couldn't hear.
All right, may you please be seated. Wow. This afternoon promises to be very good and a blessed one. Amen. And we are moving straight into why we are here. Next, we have a very powerful woman of God, woman of our society in our midst. I don't want to mention her name. I'm sure you get to know her even as I read. Dr. Lisa Summerall. Her collective background includes more than 30 years in direct sales, leadership, and entrepreneurship. She is intimately familiar with the challenges associated with growing a business, growing teams, and growing self. Dr. Summerall was trained in the International Association of Coaching Masteries. She completed train and trainer and Harvard's management programs and is a certified NBA whole brain practitioner. In addition to running her own company, Summerall and Associates, Dr. Summerall is the Vice President of Consulting Services with the Learners Group. She works closely with the CEO on strategy, workshop design, managing, and social media. Summerall is also an accomplished actress. She appeared opposite Denzel Washington in the Academy Award-winning film Philadelphia, Forrest Whitaker in The Enemy Within, and Bruce Willis in Mercury Rising, and The Sixth Sense. Dr. Summerall holds a BA Oh, are you clapping for her? Are you clapping for her? Are you clapping for her? Some of you are not clapping because you see you are not happy. So Dr. Summerall holds a BA in sociology from Trenton State University, a master's in management from Indiana Wesleyan University, and a master's in Christian studies with a concentration in leadership from Grand Canyon University. She earned her doctorate in education with a concentration in ethical leadership from Olivet Nazarene University. Ladies and gentlemen, with a clap offering, let's welcome Dr. Lisa Summerall. Are you clapping? Are you clapping? You can clap better, you can do better. Some people have added a standing ovation, and I think you can do same. Oh, you can do better, you can do better.
Thank you. Woo, good afternoon. So this is Firm Foundation. What? Wait, what did they say? Firm Foundation. Firm Foundation. So I'm the one that has the accent today, right? So So if I start speaking too fast, I want you to go like this. I'm gonna look to you for that, right? So if you don't mind, today in talking to you, I'm going to tell some of my story. Is that okay? So you will get to learn a little bit more about me, since this is my first time in Ghana. I will be back, so the next time I come, you will already know about me. And I will get to spend more time learning about you, right? I don't know if do we have my slides here today or not? Let me see if they pop up. There we go. Just wanted to make sure. So thank you for being gracious enough and allowing me to tell you a little bit about myself today. But the only reason that I will talk about myself today is because I want to use my story to help you understand and be able to share your story. Right? Because God has given all of us a story to tell, not for our own edification and our own benefit, but he has given each of you a story to tell so that you can use your story to bless someone else's life. Does that make sense? So you know that the things that you go through in your life are not just for you, right? They are so that you can empower someone else. And that's why I say you live an empowered life so you can lead your best self forward. And where this comes from is 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 12, 4 through 6 tells us that there are a variety of things that we are empowered with by God. One of them is the gifts. We're empowered by gifts. We're given gifts from the Spirit. We are given service from the Lord and activities. And the activities, gifts and activities and service all come to us from God, right? Right? How many of you know what your gifts are? What your service is that you perform? What the activities are that you're empowered to do? Raise your hand. You know you have a gift? You know you are to be of service? And you know you have activities to perform unto the Lord to benefit the world, right? So that is what this means. That is what that 1 Corinthians 12, 4 through 6 actually means. Now, it's interesting because when God blesses us, do we have a responsibility to do something once God empowers us? Yes or no? Yes? Yes, like you mean it. Okay, we're going to get better, right? So when God gives you a gift, when he blesses you or empowers you with something, your responsibility is that you have to give yourself permission to now use it. How many of you know someone who is blessed with a gift, but they are not using it? Right? Now, if you are really honest, how many of you are that person who has been blessed with a gift, but you haven't always used it? Maybe it's fear. Even though we have not been given the spirit of fear, we're human, and sometimes fear takes hold of us, and we have to learn how to push through the fear and be conquerors, right? So if you have been given a gift and you want to be able to use it so that you can empower yourself to use it, the next slide, I'm going to have you help me with this. There are things that come when you are empowered. One more. There are things that come when you are empowered. When you empower yourself, when you give yourself permission to use your gifts. Next slide, please. When you give yourself permission to use your gifts, these are successful, courageous, independent, fearless, self-assured, and powerful. Go ahead, clap for yourself. Because you have to speak these things into your life. You have to speak those things that God has put into you. You have to speak these things into your life, because when you speak these things into your life, they will manifest. Live the life that God has designed for you to live, and you speak these things that he has empowered you to do, they will manifest. I am here in Ghana today. Where's Dr. Whitaker? She's this little. There she is. Dr. Whitaker, how many years ago did we say, I'm coming to Ghana? Many years ago, probably 2 or so years ago, I started saying to her, I'm going to come to Ghana. I didn't know how I was coming. I didn't know why I was coming. But I'm here today because God decided I had done what I was supposed to do and empowered it, and I spoke this thing into existence. I prayed to him without understanding how or why, because sometimes, I'll talk over here. Hold it. The rest of you, this is not for you. This is only for them over here. Sometimes, don't you want something and then you don't want to ask God for it? Like you don't want to say it out loud, right? You want it really bad, but you keep it a secret? Yeah. So this is something I want you to work on. The next slide is my empowerment statement. You have to give yourself permission here on earth to use it to bless the world. So my empowerment statement is here. I give myself permission to use my gifts and talents to benefit myself and others by doing what God, some of you said, she's going to benefit herself? Yes. Yes. So I give myself permission to use my gifts and talents to benefit myself and others by doing what God uniquely empowered me to do. He uniquely empowered me to do. Me that I don't want people to compare, and then you push your gift down, right? Can anybody relate to that? You hide your gift because you compare it. Now, comparing is human. We all do it. It's a very difficult habit to break. But what I want you to understand is that even if someone does the same thing that you do, trust and believe that there is not another human being on this earth that can do it the same way that you do it. And that is why mine says what I am uniquely empowered to do. Uniquely empowered to do. That's my peculiarity from God. I'm one of his peculiar people. And so you have to find that courage to overcome whatever fear or doubt you may have, and stop comparing yourself to what other people are doing, and only compare yourself to the image that God has of you, which is brilliant. Because to God, you are brilliant. Go ahead, say it. To God, I am brilliant. Did anybody back here believe that? Okay, stand up. Just one time. Stand up. Ready? You got to plant both your feet. This is an old speaking trick. Plant both of your feet really good. Take a big thing of air here in your chest. And now you're going to let it out from your gut. We're going to say it together. To God, I am brilliant. Ready? 1, 2, 3. To God, I am brilliant. There, that felt better. That was good. So, one of the things that I had to learn on my path of feeling empowered and living empowered was that sometimes plans will change. And sometimes I have to be willing to change plans. So when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a gymnast. Everybody familiar? Gymnast, right? So like at the Olympics, running and tumbling and doing splits and acrobats. And I was very good when I was little. And I would watch the gymnastics team practice. And my brother was there, and I would sneak into things with him, and I would watch the gymnastics team practice because I was going to be a gymnast. You would never believe what happened. So one night, I was at home sleeping, and I went to get up, and I fell to the floor, and I realized that I couldn't move my legs. And I had a crazy pain going down my spine, and I couldn't. My mother and my brother, and they laid a blanket on the floor, and they laid me on the blanket so they could carry me downstairs. And that's where the ambulance had to come, the medics had to come and take me into the ambulance to get me to the hospital to find out what. So my spine was starting to curve in two different directions. The upper part of my spine went this way, and the bottom part went this way. So I was like an S, like the S in my last name. I did not want to look like the S in my last name. So up top, they found out that I had an 18-degree curve in the upper part of my spine, and I had a 32-degree curve in the lower part of my spine. And the doctor said to my mother, if her lower curve was 4 more degrees, if it was 36 degrees, they required mandatory surgery where they would have to fuse my spine by putting a metal rod in my back. Fortunately, by the grace of God, that didn't happen. So let me show you what did happen. What happened was, for all 4 years of high school where I was going to be a fabulous gymnast, I had to wear a brace. Look at that neck brace. So it's just the top of the brace. It had metal that went around my neck. It had a metal rod that went down the front. It had 2 metal rods down the back. Show the next slide. That's the whole brace. How would you like wearing that all through high school? It's quiet in here. Did my brace scare you? A little? It scared me too. So guess what the doctor told me? Guess what the one activity was that I could not do? Gymnastics. How do you think that made me feel? There was no reason to go to high school almost. That was everything I thought I wanted to do, was to be a gymnastics, and that was the one thing he said that I couldn't do. So I want you to think about something. Think of 1 or 2 things that are so important to you that you want to pursue them. How many of you know what your goals are for yourself? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Hopefully they align with the things that you're very good at, that you've been gifted by God to do. And I want you to imagine what would happen if that was the one thing that you were told you could not do. Sometimes you have to make a decision to change plans. So all through high school, I had to find other sports to play. So I played volleyball, I played basketball, and I ran track. So my dreams of being a gymnast were dashed. We can move through 2 slides. But I ended up going to Howard University in Washington, D.C., and I earned a full volleyball scholarship. So if I had only held on to that dream of being a gymnast, if that had been the only thing that I held on to, and I had decided if I cannot be a gymnast, my life is just going to be ruined, this would have never happened. Becoming a volleyball player would never have happened. Attending Howard University and walking onto the team and earning a full scholarship would have never happened. So I want you to always pray that you will prepare yourself for the things that you want to do, and also pray that you have the flexibility. Pray that you have the flexibility to change your plans when it's necessary. Does that make sense? So now I'm going to get into the part that I hardly ever get to share in public, because I always feel like it's kind of bragging, and I'm trying to grow into the reality of the things that I've been able to do in my life. So I went through 4 years of wearing that brace. So my posture should be pretty good, right? Sometimes I do slouch, but I catch myself, because after wearing that brace for 4 years, I should sit up straight all the time. But I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed beyond measure or blessed beyond belief in my life. In spite of things that have failed, and I've had plenty of things that haven't worked out. You saw what I went through 4 years of high school wearing, so you know it wasn't all glamorous. Some of what they didn't share with you, or I think they did share some of the movies, but let me just go through some of the next slides because I want you to see what God does. I want you to see what God does when you don't limit the possibilities in your life and you just try. Just engage yourself. I'm not going to say try. I